So, funny story, I just recorded this whole video and then went to edit it and my audio had not recorded. So, hello again. We're here for me the second time, for you, I guess the first time. So, I try to be smart about my book purchases because I love books and could spend hours and hours in bookstores. But I recently moved. Well, I guess it hasn't. 2020 kind of has. It's been a weird year, but I moved earlier this year. And when I did that, I had to get rid of a lot of my books. And so now my collection is pretty curated to me. Most of the books I have, I really like. And I kind of like having, it's not really a smaller collection because I do still have a fair amount of books, but they're books that I really either like or I definitely want to read or something like that. So I try to be smart about my book purchases and only buy books that really sound appealing to me, or the cover is really pretty, or that get just like very good reviews, or they're from my favorite author, things like that. But that said, I've never lived in a town before with a big bookstore. There's a Books A Million like a mile away from me, and so I finally broke down and got a membership and bought a few books. So today we are going to do a book haul. The first book on the list is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, and this is the same author who wrote The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This book is a novella. It's less than 200 pages. It did come out August 2019, though I had a really hard time finding it anywhere. And so I had to order my copy from Book Depository, even though I like ordering books from Book Depository, and especially I would have ordered this book from there anyway because I like the UK covers a lot better than the US covers. So this is a sci-fi, and the premise is that instead of terraforming planets, the astronauts instead change themselves to better suit the planets that they're going to. And so while they're on the ship in a deep sleep, their bodies undergo changes so that they can live on the planet that they're going to. Meanwhile, they wake up and decades have gone by, and so whenever they check in on Earth, a lot of things have changed over time. So it takes place over a long span of time, and you kind of see how the society back on Earth is changing and morphing. So that premise to me sounded a lot like Children of Time, which is one of my favorite books ever, except that book was a little more pessimistic about humanity, and Becky Chambers seems to be more optimistic, and her books are always they're not necessarily happy books, but they're really heartwarming and inclusive, and everyone is nice to each other and kind, and so I'm really looking forward to her spin on that premise. The second book I bought is Goldilocks by Laura Lamb, and this came out in April 2020. I was going to buy a physical copy because the cover is gorgeous, but then I saw the ebook on sale for $4.99, and so I just bought the ebook instead. And I believe the ebook is still on sale. If that's true, I will link it below. So the premise of this one sounded really cool. It is a sci-fi, and it's kind of more of a feminist story. So in this setting, women have lost a lot of their rights, but Earth is kind of collapsing, and I'm not sure if that's environmental or government or I'm not really sure why. So this group of women are leading a mission to go to find another planet that's in the Goldilocks zone so that humans can inhabit it. But they're not cleared for this mission, and so they end up having to steal a ship to go, and then along the way things start going awry on the ship. I'm not exactly sure what happens, but I heard that it's also kind of a thriller, so I don't think it's like Alien type of thriller, but maybe someone on the crew isn't loyal to the crew is what I'm guessing. But I don't know, it sounds really exciting, and so I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. The third book I didn't even know existed until I saw it at the bookstore last week, and that book is The Fire Never Goes Out by Noelle Stevenson. So this author is the same one who wrote Nimona, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It is a graphic novel, and it's cute, but it's also just heartwarming and a little sad, but in a good way, and I just love it so much. And Noelle Stevenson also is the co-creator of the fabulous middle grade comic series Lumberjanes, which I also highly recommend. And she is the showrunner of Netflix's reboot of She-Ra, which I admittedly only saw a few episodes of, but I heard really good things. So I just love Noelle Stevenson so much. And when I saw that she wrote a memoir filled with comics and essays, I just knew I had to get it. So yeah, I think that this is one I'll be able to go through pretty quickly, but definitely something I had to have. So the fourth book I got is Spinning by Tillie Walden. So this is a memoir told as a graphic novel, and I read another graphic novel by the same author earlier this year called On a Sunbeam, and I absolutely loved it. The art style was amazing, and when I saw that it was about figure skating, I knew I had to have it immediately, because this past year, if you know me, you'll know I have been obsessed with figure skating, maybe one figure skater in particular, but it's just like consumed my life. I cannot skate at all, but I really love watching it and learning more about it. And so in this book, you follow her life whenever she was in figure skating for, I believe, 10 years, and then her coming out story and how she kind of lost her interest in figure skating along the way. So it is a coming of age memoir, and I'm really, really excited for it. So if you caught any of my recent videos, really, you'll know that I am a huge, huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. And I really love the comic series too, and I own all of the library editions except for the newest releases. So I was going to wait and get Imbalance for Christmas because it just recently came out. But then I saw that it went unavailable on Amazon, and a lot of the other comic series, maybe all of them, have been sold out on Amazon for weeks, maybe months now. Ever since it came on Netflix, everyone has been wanting to read the comics and everything Avatar related. And so when I saw it was unavailable on Amazon, I went and checked my local bookstore, and it said that they were in stock, but the stock was really low. And so I had to buy the library edition of Imbalance because I was afraid if I didn't buy it, then I would never be able to get it. And it is very heavy, so I'm going to set it down now. But if you're unfamiliar with the Avatar comic series, they take place between the two shows. So after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender and before the events of The Legend of Korra. So it really does a good job at tying those two settings together, because if you watch Avatar and then watch Korra, it can seem kind of disjointed because just the technology and the society is so different, and so the comics do a really good job at tying those things together. I was a little apprehensive whenever I started. I did read the first part of this comic series a few years ago, and I was a little apprehensive because in this collection they changed writers and artists. So this one is written by Faith Erin Hicks, and it is illustrated by Peter Wortman, and I loved the writing by Jean Luen Yang of the other comic series, and the art series by, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, but the art by Guri Hiru of the previous 5 editions were amazing and gorgeous, and I love them so much. But I actually really like the art style in this new collection as well, and Faith Erin Hicks is an amazing writer. She does a great job as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting to that, and I think that this might be the last of the 3 series comics that comes out in a while for Avatar, because I know that they are releasing more Korra comics, and those seem to be really popular too. And the Avatar comics that are announced that are coming out seem to be more standalone. Like I know that there's one with Katara and Toph coming out, and then there's another collection of more standalone. It's a binding of 2 standalone comics that is coming out, I think, next month. But for the bigger, like 3-part bindings, I'm not sure when the next one for Avatar is going to be released. Along those same lines, if you watch any of my previous videos, you'll know that I am really interested in reading the art of the animated series for both Avatar and Korra, but I only owned book 1 for Korra and did not own books 2, 3, and 4. And so I finally got the one for book 3 because it was still available on Amazon, and book 3 is my favorite, so I had to have it. And I've been trying to do my best to read all the extended universe canon that I can, because I have a lot of Avatar projects coming up, one of which is a podcast that I'm really excited about. We just got our new logo for it, and feel free to follow us on Instagram and Twitter if you want to keep up with when we post episodes of that. So I'm really excited for it. However, the art for books 2 and 4 are still unavailable on Amazon and pretty much every bookstore I check, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to get physical copies for those. If you are at a used bookstore or something and you see them, you should probably buy them, because I think that they're pretty much sold out everywhere else. So I will probably read them, but I will have to read the ebooks or maybe find them at a library somewhere just so that I can have the knowledge. But I really would like to have them in my collection. So if you see them anywhere, let me know. Okay, and the last book on my list is a pre-order. It is The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. And this is probably the most anticipated book of 2020 amongst the book community. And again, if you've seen my past videos, you'll know I love V.E. Schwab's premises. So the premise for this one is that a woman makes a deal with the devil, and so she has long life, but everyone that she meets forgets about her. And I also saw some people describing it as a love story between this woman and the devil that spans over like 300 years. So both of those pitches sound really, really great to me, and really, really hoping that I love this one. Because even though I love V.E. Schwab's premises, I've read 6 of her books so far, and the highest rating I've given any was 4 stars, and that was only for one of them. So I tend to not love her writing style very much, but I love her as an author. I'm really interested in her books, and I just want to find one that I love. This book, I believe she actually tweeted about a lot as she was writing it. It took her several years to write, and I know that she kind of struggled with parts of it, and I loved seeing that journey, and so I feel a little more emotionally invested in this one than some of her other books, because I did see the writing journey along the way. And also, you know, the cover is beautiful. She always has beautiful covers. So I did pre-order this one, but if I don't like it, then this might be the last Schwab book I read, because I'm afraid that I just don't click very well with her writing style. Okay, so those are all the books that I have bought recently. There are a few more that sound interesting that I have on my wish list, one of which is a new book by Nina LaCour, and she is one of my favorite authors, so I will probably pick that one up in the future. But I also just really like utilizing my library, and I don't feel inclined to buy every book that I'm interested in, because I can get so many from my library. So please continue to support your local library and your local bookstores, because I mean, that's a good thing. That's what keeps the book community going. Okay, so tell me in the comments which one of these books you're most interested in, which one I should definitely read first. And if you feel so inclined, please like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. August 2019. Is that right? It did come out It did come out last August. No, still not last August. Okay. It did come out oh my gosh. August 2019. Let's say it again, Emily. Okay. Comic, memoir by the no. Okay, obviously it's by the author. And this again is a graphic novel memoir, or graphic memoir. how do I say this? It's not a graphic novel. I mean, it is, but it's not a novel, it's a memoir. So, graphic memoir?